There, right there. Excellent. That feels good.
In this edition of Trailer Sailor, we're sailing the waters of Northern Idaho. Welcome to Lake Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is located in the Panhandle region of the state and is less than 100 miles from the Canadian border. Lake Coeur d'Alene, called one of the world's most beautiful lakes by the Encyclopedia Britannica, has 109 miles of shoreline and extends 23 miles south of the city of the same name. Surrounded by an alpine forest, this gorgeous lake sits at 2,152 feet and has an outstanding summer climate with low humidity and almost no bugs. Coeur d'Alene Lake is easily reachable by driving Interstate 90 from the east or west, and for vacationing trailer sailors, it is an outstanding blend of great sailing and fun things to do off the water. If you've never been to this part of the country, you're in for a treat. The French name Coeur d'Alene was given to the Indians in this area by early French Canadians, or French-speaking Iroquois Indians, who traveled through the area in the 1790s. Its literal translation is heart of awl, meaning hearts like the point of an awl, a leatherworking tool. Why they were given that name, no one is really certain. In the mid-1800s, gold and silver was discovered here and civilization moved in. Fortunately, not too much civilization was allowed. The area remains picture book pretty and thus a perfect destination for trailer sailors. This trailer sailing family drives Hunter Marine's largest trailerable sailboat, the H-26. We call her Airtime. She's a sweet boat with lots of room below, a huge cockpit, and perhaps most importantly, easy trailer ability. A water ballast boat and trailer fully loaded weigh in at under 5,000 pounds, so it's pretty easy to tow for such a large boat. But when you put her in the lake, she takes on an additional 2,000 pounds of ballast, making the H-26 a little bit more stable than her water ballast counterparts. Airtime's 6-foot swing keel lets her go to weather rather well, and the lack of backstays keeps the cockpit wide open. She's worked out to be the perfect trailer sailing boat, and we plan to keep her for a long time. As we mentioned, Coeur d'Alene Lake has over 100 miles of shoreline, and we regard this as a light air lake. We've visited this area dozens of times and have rarely found breezes over 15 knots. Most of the time they hover around 10. Because of the size of Coeur d'Alene Lake and the light air, our sailing area was confined to the northern part of the lake. Our base for this trip? The exceptionally nice Silver Beach Marina, located just a few miles east of the city of Coeur d'Alene. This marina is one of the higher-end marinas on the lake, as evidenced by the fact that Airtime was one of the smallest boats there. There are numerous places around the lake to launch your boat, but interestingly enough, the Silver Beach Marina had no boat ramp. As a result, we put in at the 4th Street public boat ramp right next to the fabulous Hotel Coeur d'Alene. On the weekend, this ramp is one of the busiest we've ever seen. So we planned our trip accordingly and we put in on a Thursday. In fact, since most boat ramps are so busy on the weekend, if it is all possible, try to time putting in and taking out your boat during the week. What this really does for you is give you time. Let's face it, no matter what the boat manufacturers tell you, it takes at least an hour, if not 2, to rig your boat for getting underway. On a busy, unfamiliar boat ramp full of impatient stink potters, it can become ugly fast. And that's not the way to start out a terrific sailing adventure. Okay, now, on to the rigging. One of the most stressful moments in trailer sailing is always going to be stepping the mast. And some boats can make this moment a nightmare. But the trailerable series of sailboats from Hunter Marine makes stepping the mast relatively easy and very safe. If you're not practiced at stepping the mast, try to do it the first few times on dry land. That way, if you drop something, you don't have to dive for it. However, sometimes you've got no choice and you have to do it on the water, and here's how it works with our Hunter. It's important to make sure all lines are laid out cleanly and without kinks. Remember, if you hurry here, it may bite you in the poop deck later. First, attach the Windex. We've left that thing off so many times we can't even count. Now, once the shrouds and lines are laid out and the roller furler, if you have one, is clear.
Tom, watch out for boats coming down the slip.
Simply slide the mast back in the crutch till it comes even with the tabernacle.
Yeah, we're almost there now.
Now put a drop of dishwashing liquid on the pin and connect the mast to the mast step. The dishwashing soap is just as good a lubricant as anything else, but unlike oil or silicone, it won't attract dirt and grime and will simply go away the first time you swab the deck. Oh, make sure the Windex is attached.
There we go.
Here is where hunter trailer bulls shine. Using a gin pull, we attach the main halyard to the top of the pole and the upper snap shackle of the main sheet to the bottom. The lower main sheet snap shackle attaches to the ring in the anchor well. We now insert the gin pole into a hole in the mast and we're ready to raise the mast. Of course, we also attach these clever little bridle stays to the sides of the mast and to the forward stanchions. That keeps the mast from swinging from side to side as it goes up. And the main sheet is then run back to one of the winches.
Solid. And this one's kinked. There we go.
So from that point on, all you do is winch the mast to the upright position. Oh, is the Windex attached? Can't say that too many times. Stepping the mast can be done by one person, but two is much easier and safer. And while I raise the mast, my helper Tom keeps the roller furler from smacking into the cabin windows. And then as the mast goes up, he makes sure all the shroud lines are coming up clean. Now this is critical. Make sure the J-bolts that connect the shrouds to the deck are straight when the mast comes up. Check them periodically as the mast goes up. If you don't pay attention, they can bend, and it's a $50 bill to replace one. If you don't have a spare, you'd better hope there's a West Marine store nearby, or you won't be sailing until you do. Now, I've learned this the hard way. Once the J-bolts are bent, they're not safe and they can break under load, which means a possible dismasting. So if you bend one, replace it. I always have at least one spare J-bolt on board. Other than that, the mast goes right up, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Okay, we're locked.
Now, let's go get in the wind. Keeping in mind that Coeur d'Alene Lake is almost 30 miles long with a lot of light air, one can't possibly begin to cover all of it in a week's time. So we sought out some old salts to give us some idea of the best places to sail.
Yeah, we started sailing in 1955. They were probably 5 stars, about 12 or 14 Blanchards, if you know what the Blanchards are. Maybe a Treesome and some McGregor 30s. And we used to call it the Spokane Sailing Club. The one thing about it is there's always a nice little breeze in Cougar Bay here, and you get fairly steady winds out of the south, and if it's a north wind, it gets pretty tricky. The winds pick up, early in the morning and then sort of die out when it gets warm. Well, I think the best sailing would probably be down in the Mica Bay, and usually Wolf Lodge Bay, which is the bay up in here, with the prevailing southerly, you get very little wind in there. It can be blowing 10 or 15 in here. There's no wind at all on the east end of Mica Bay, Wolf Lodge Bay. There's a lot of good anchorages. If you want to stay overnight, the water isn't very deep. A lot of little bays. I like Beauty Bay, which is on the east end of Wolf Lodge. Lofts Bay, which is about 700 miles south on the west shore. All of Mica Bay is good. There's a lot of good, all the bays are really pretty nice. Mica Bay is probably the most interesting.
I've been on Coeur d'Alene for about 12 years. We've got fresh air, we got wind, we have too many power boats.
Awesome.
Wind is not predictable. Makes interesting sailing.
So that's what you like about sailing this lake?
One of the best things is the challenge. It's a lot different than ocean sailing, where you know the wind's going to be blowing out of the northwest at 7 knots at 7 o'clock in the morning, and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon it'll still be blowing out of the northwest at 7 knots. Cruising, every place on the lake is a good place to cruise. There's Echo Bay, is just up around the corner from Arrow Point. There's Squaw Bay behind us. That's got a little trickier for anchoring. Beauty Bay on down around the corner is by Wolf Lodge Bay is an excellent place, little tricky to anchor. Let's see, and those are probably the most protected areas. There's several other ones, Rockford Bay. If you want burgers, there's Carlin Bay. They have a, put a plug in for the local bar and cafe. And there's also Mica Bay is another place. It's not quite as protected. We have a neat little spot called Toad Rock, which is kind of tricky to get into, but it's a real nice little spot. Lofts Bay is another great place. We have some pretty good parties down there, particularly after Memorial Day racing and Labor Day racing.
One of the best places to find wind on Lake Coeur d'Alene is this area right off of Arrow Point right here, where you see those green roofs. If you sail out there, you'll find that the wind is often blowing 5 or 6 knots better out there for some reason than it is on the rest of the lake. And we think it's kind of a Venturi effect where the wind is funneled between 2 points here and just blows a little stronger there.
The wide portion of the lake around the town of Coeur d'Alene proved plenty of outstanding sailing, and true to form, we were off in a 10-knot spanking breeze on a gorgeous summer day. Airtime loves this kind of wind. In fact, it's perfect for her, and we spent a glorious afternoon in the water. You can tell simply by body language how nice this day's sailing was. As we headed back to the marina, the old skipper rewarded us with his artwork, and in terminology from the glory days of sailing, the sun was under the foreyard, meaning time for a cool one. Anchored by the one-of-a-kind Coeur d'Alene Resort, the city of Coeur d'Alene is a bustling little town of around 25,000. And it is heavily geared to the tourist. There are scads of shops, restaurants, and other attractions for both children and adults. On a scale of 1 to 5, the Coeur d'Alene area receives a 5, with a high entertainment index for all ages. The Chamber of Commerce is a valuable resource for hotels, restaurants, and other touristy things to do, and calling their 800 number will get you a nice little vacation packet filled with such information. Without question, though, the centerpiece of this town is the Coeur d'Alene Resort Hotel.
The resort we opened in May of 1986, and when we first opened we were kind of a little regional destination spot, and in 1991 we added skiing. We added a golf course and then some shopping over across the street, and that really kind of elevated us to another level of really a national destination spot. So you kind of couple those activities with the lake and we've just got a real charming place here. We're very fortunate really to have all the amenities that we have. We have a marina with 375 boat slips here that has rental boats, and so you can take and go out and enjoy the lake. And then of course right next to us is our county dock, which from there we feature the daily cruises out on the lake on the big charter boats. We have seaplane rides, we have jet skiing, parasailing, just about every imaginable activity you can think of.
Okay, ready? Tacking. Just hold on to it until right about there and then let your right hand go and pull your left hand in tight. Just like that, perfect.
Ho hum, another day, another screaming broad reach. Today the breeze freshened to about 15 knots and sent Airtime blasting through the water with a bone in her teeth. With her huge full batten main, the 126 is right on the edge of being overpowered. So this is the perfect time to introduce local sailing instructor David Kilmer with a sailing tip.
One of the really nice things to have in your sailor's bag of tricks is the ability to depower this boat or to straighten it up a little bit if it starts to heel over on you. All right, we're sailing to weather here. We've got the sails full of wind, and we're going to learn how to control the angle of the boat as it heels over in these puffs of wind that come at us across the lake. What we want to do is you want to sail the boat in control and be a step ahead of the boat whenever you can. What we're going to do is we're going to wait until that sail fills up with wind and starts to push the boat over. And as that happens, all we have to do is reach down and take our main sheet, which controls the amount of air in the main, and we're just going to dump a little bit of wind out of that main, and you'll see the boat straighten right up again. As you get better at this, you'll begin to actually ease the sail before that puff of air even hits the boat. We're going to have another puff coming here in 10, 12 seconds or so. We have a puff. We're going to let a little air out of the main sheet. And we're going to feel the boat straighten right up like that. And then you want to trim that sail back in to start getting maximum power out of your boat again. So again, as we have the sails trimmed in, we're going to weather. And as a puff of wind hits the boat, and you feel the boat start to heel over, simply reach down and ease that main sheet out. That'll give you control of the boat.
Most large bodies of water have organized club racing. Lake Coeur d'Alene is no exception. This is the Panhandle Yacht Club, a sailboats only marina and yacht club on the lake.
1980 was my first year on this lake.
So what do you like about Coeur d'Alene Lake? What makes the sailing fun here?
Beauty. It's always, the winds are usually pretty fair. It usually comes out of the south, and it's just a beautiful lake to sail on.
What do you sail?
Hobie 33.
You racing today?
You betcha. You bet.
So where are your favorite parts to sail on this lake?
Oh, probably right out here, just out from the Coeur d'Alene Resort. It opens up real nice here, and the winds are pretty fair down here. And we have a great club. We have a real mix of boats here. A lot of San 121s racing, J24s racing. We have 4 Hobie 33s that race on this lake, Olsen 30. So we have a nice mixture of all kinds of boats. Yeah, if they want to give me a call at any time, my phone number is area code 509-325-1864. I'd be happy to answer any questions that somebody might have about what's going on up here in Coeur d'Alene.
Today was an unusual day for Lake Coeur d'Alene with winds of 20+ knots. While the race was underway, we rolled up about a third of the head sail and had a wild morning on the lake. flew past Bennett Bay, into Wolf Lodge Bay before we had to come about and get back to Panhandle for the finish of the race. We just made it. Later that afternoon, we lost our bucket and deck brush overboard in the stiff breeze, so we headed into West Marine in Spokane for replacement parts. If there was ever a toy store for sailors, West Marine is it.
30 years ago, Randy Repass, our founder, discovered that it was very difficult to get parts for a sailboat, especially as a beginning sailor. Most of the places he went to didn't have friendly associates working, and they were dark and dirty, and he said there's got to be a better way. So, being Randy, he opened his own store. He called it West Coast Ropes, and later West Marine. Ever since then, West Marine's slogan has been that we make boating more fun. And that's really why we're all here. We're boaters, and we're glad you are too. And we sure hope to see you in the store, because we're here to help you find what you need to go boating. We have products ranging from paints and maintenance items to the snazzy electronics that you know are going to be a lot of fun to play with while you're out on the water when the wind dies. We have all the ropes you could possibly imagine, lines from anything from sail control lines to dock lines and anchor lines, anchors, and even outboard motors for when you just absolutely have to get back to the dock before supper. In the summer of 1997, West Marine opened a location here in Spokane, Washington, near Lakes Coeur d'Alene, Pend Oreille, and Roosevelt, as well as all the smaller lakes that we all love to go boating on. The store here in Spokane is located on East Sprague Avenue. We're right next to Eagle Hardware, with easy access off of I-90 on exit 285, which is actually the Sprague Avenue exit. This store is conveniently located just 20 minutes from Lake Coeur d'Alene and less than an hour from either Pend Oreille or Roosevelt. Our local phone number here is area code 509-533-5532. If you happen to be calling from out of state, which I know a lot of boaters here are, we have a toll-free number that is 1-877-WMarine.
The next morning, it was a little cool and blustery, so the ladies went into town to do the shopping routine, and us men hit the world-famous Coeur d'Alene Resort Golf Course.
Golf course was built in 1991. It's a Scott Miller design course. It's real user-friendly. You know, a lot of sloped fairway slope into the center, so if you hit right or left, it kind of comes back for you. It's fairly unique in its some of the services we offer with the caddy program, and the level of guest service I think you'll find is second to none for courses.
Hold on, that couldn't hold on.
The course is so incredibly lush, you must see it to believe it. And the floating green is simply an awesome hole. It was a lot of fun.
Here we are sailing along on Lake Coeur d'Alene. It's a beautiful day, and one of the things I love about sailing a boat is that here you are moving along, and you're holding two of the most awesome elements in your hands. You're holding the wind. Here I am holding the wind in my left hand, and I've got the water in my right hand. It's an awesome feeling.
Sadly, our trip was coming to an end, and the weather was so unbelievably perfect it was hard to pack up the boat and go home. So we went out one last day and got in the wind again.
feel that boat take off.
We even discovered Arrow Point, kind of a mini resort with a cool restaurant, bar, and extensive beach area. It was a great place for lunch or a cold one. Perfect place to wrap up sailing on a hot afternoon. As we've mentioned, there was no way to cover the entire lake, but we did get some great sailing in, and we'll definitely come back for more. To review, Lake Coeur d'Alene is a worthwhile trip for any trailer sailor. We give this lake a 2 on the Serenity Index, meaning that it's not really a remote, quiet, uncharted kind of a place. It's a pretty bustly place. There are houses and cabins on virtually every inch of the shore until you get way down to the south end of the lake. But on the other hand, our entertainment index is a 5, meaning that there's just a ton of stuff to do if you want to get off the boat, even for the kids. This can be a busy and fun kind of vacation, and the area is well worth visiting. Because this lake is so cool, you'll want to call ahead for some moorage space. Here are some numbers that will help you do that. That's it for this edition of Trailer Sailor. Thanks for joining us, and look for more great sailing destinations on our webpage. You can find us at www.visual-thinking.com. If you have suggestions as to unique or fun trailer sailing areas you'd like to see us go to, you can also email us from our webpage with your thoughts. So long, and fair winds. Special thanks to Hunter Marine for their contributions to this video. Hunter is proud to be a major sponsor of Trailer Sailor, which allows you to feel the freedom of true trailer sailing. Hunter Marine is very fortunate to be positioned in a recreational industry that allows us to bring to the consumer enjoyment of his or her free time. The history of Hunter Marine speaks for itself. Evolved from the combination of Warren Lure's passion for high-performance sailing and skills learned with his brother John, these third-generation boat builders have logged thousands of miles upon the world's oceans. The Lure brothers' desire for the most advanced sailing technology was fueled by their never-diminishing desire to define innovation on the water. In the past 25 years, that desire has brought Hunter Marine to the forefront of the international sailing industry, with more than 20,000 Hunter boats sailing the world's waters. Hunter Marine, we go the distance. Thanks also to West Marine, our favorite toy store. With retail locations across the country, you can count on West Marine to have the sailing gear you need. Get the West Advantage with the best product selection, knowledgeable service, discount prices, and best of all, a no-hassle guarantee. West Marine. Call 1-800-BOATING for a store location near you.